Hey, football fans, welcome back to the channel. Grab your favorite snacks and settle in because we have quite the story to talk about today. It's about Russell Wilson, the quarterback who went from the most unwanted player in the NFL to the guy saving a struggling Steelers offense. Yes, you heard that right, we're diving into Russell Wilson's redemption arc, the Pittsburgh Steelers' surprising move, and how all this drama could unfold into something beautiful for the black and gold. So, what happened? You remember Russell Wilson, right? The guy who led the Seattle Seahawks to 2 Super Bowls, won 1, and was one of the most exciting dual-threat quarterbacks in the league for years? Well, after a let's call it rough stint with the Denver Broncos, it seemed like his best years were behind him. Fast forward to the 2023 season. Wilson is gently booted out of Denver, which cost the Broncos a historic $85 million in dead cap penalties. The team was basically paying him to leave. But, as you can imagine, they had to pay him a little extra. How much? Oh, only $39 million in guaranteed salary. So, after being cut by the Broncos, Wilson had to find a new team. But no one exactly rolled out the red carpet for him. Then, out of nowhere, the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by head coach Mike Tomlin, thought, hey, maybe this former MVP candidate can turn our offense around. They signed Wilson to a 1-year, $1.21 million contract, basically a steal considering how much Denver was paying him to go away. So why on earth would the Steelers bench their promising young QB, Justin Fields, to bring in a guy who had flamed out in Denver? Let me tell you, because they knew something we didn't. Russell Wilson comes in like a hero. Since taking over the starting role in October, Wilson has been nothing short of a revelation for Pittsburgh. His debut was met with some skepticism, but by the time the Steelers hit the field, they were on fire. Under his leadership, Pittsburgh has gone 5-1, yes, you read that right, 5-1. Not only did Wilson get the Steelers' offense firing on all cylinders, but he also increased their point production dramatically. In the first 6 games with Fields, Pittsburgh averaged just 20.7 points per game, but with Wilson, that number skyrocketed to 28.7 points per game. Talk about an upgrade. That's a huge shift. And in the NFL, that's the difference between barely making the playoffs and being a real contender. Wilson's passing game has been incredible. He's averaging 271 yards per game, which is a career high. And get this, it's not just a career high, it's also the second best passing yardage in the entire NFL this season. Talk about making up for lost time. The guy's been lighting it up. While he might not be the same scrambler he was in Seattle, Wilson has made up for it by becoming a much more efficient passer. His yards per attempt are at a career high, and his sack percentage is the lowest it's been in years. So, is he a bit slower on his feet? Maybe, but is he smarter, more experienced, and still capable of throwing lasers downfield? Absolutely. Can Wilson keep it up? The big tests await. So, we've seen the good stuff. But can Wilson keep this going? The final stretch of the regular season will certainly be a tough test. The Steelers face some very formidable opponents in the coming weeks. First, they'll have to take on the 10-2 Philadelphia Eagles, who are rolling with a Super Bowl caliber team. After that, it's a tough road game against the division rival Baltimore Ravens, followed by another game on the road against the high-flying Kansas City Chiefs, who are currently the AFC's top dog. Each of these games is a potential playoff preview. The Steelers could face any of these teams in the postseason, and these matchups will be critical for seeding. That means Wilson needs to keep playing at a high level. The good news? He's proven that he's up for the challenge. But it's not all sunshine and roses. Sure, Wilson's only loss so far came in a snow-filled Thursday night game against the Cleveland Browns. But December football is a different beast. The Steelers will need to get past these high-powered teams if they want to solidify their playoff spot and get Wilson back in the postseason, where he definitely belongs. What does this mean for Russell Wilson? For Wilson, this could be the start of a legendary comeback. After being labeled a has-been by many, Wilson is proving that he's not done yet. His 2 seasons with Denver were disastrous. But now, with a new team and a new mindset, he's showing the world that he can still be the quarterback of an elite NFL offense. This isn't just a career revival, this is the redemption arc of the year. Pittsburgh took a huge gamble by betting on a quarterback with a questionable track record. But it's paying off. Sure, he's not as mobile as he used to be. But Wilson is proving that he can still sling the ball around with the best of them. And with Tomlin at the helm, we may just see a version of Wilson that's even more dangerous than before. What does this mean for the Steelers? For the Pittsburgh Steelers, the decision to bring in Wilson is looking like an absolute stroke of genius. Not only is Wilson playing great football, but he's also helping take this offense to new heights. There's been a lot of talk about the Steelers needing a more dynamic passing game. And with Wilson under center, it looks like they've found their answer. Thanks to Wilson, the Steelers' offense is now something to be feared, both in the air and on the ground. And with Pittsburgh sitting at 9-3, heading into the final 5 games of the season, they're in prime position to make a deep postseason run. So, what's next for Wilson and the Steelers? It's clear that Russell Wilson and the Steelers have a big road ahead of them. But for now, they're riding high. If Wilson can keep this momentum going through December, then we could be looking at a very exciting playoff run for Pittsburgh. Will Wilson prove that he can be the quarterback of a Super Bowl contender once again? Will he show everyone that he's not just a has-been, but still a future MVP candidate? We'll have to wait and see. But one thing's for sure, this Steelers team has definitely taken a step forward with Russell Wilson leading the charge. That's it for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share this with your friends. You won't want to miss the latest updates on Russell Wilson's comeback journey and all the exciting NFL action coming your way. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think Wilson can lead the Steelers to a Super Bowl? We'll see you next time. And remember, keep those football dreams alive. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a crazy story from the NFL world that's guaranteed to keep you on the edge of your seat. It's time to talk about the one, the only, the legend, Mike Tomlin and his Pittsburgh Steelers. No, it's not another boring, dull sports story. This one's packed with drama, history, and, let's be honest, a bit of Pittsburgh magic. So sit back, relax, and grab some popcorn because we're about to get into the nitty-gritty of how Tomlin and the Steelers are absolutely crushing it this season. Mike Tomlin and his magic, 21 seasons without a losing record. Here's the thing, when you think about Mike Tomlin, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Super Bowls? Playoffs? Or maybe you think of that steely stare he gives when the game is on the line. And you're wondering, how does he do it? Well, the man has done it again. And we're not talking about just making it to the playoffs this year. Nope, Tomlin has now matched an NFL record that's been standing for decades, 21 seasons without a losing record. That's right, folks, 21 straight seasons of keeping the Steelers above .500. And let's just say, you don't see that every day. How does Tomlin do it? Now, you might be sitting there wondering, how on earth does Mike Tomlin pull this off? Well, I'll tell you. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube, blindfolded, while riding a roller coaster. It's part strategy, part grit, and part, well, we'll call it, Steelers magic. You see, it's not just about talent. It's about consistency, leadership, and staying cool when things get crazy. Tomlin has this rare ability to take whatever roster he's handed and turn it into something that's not just competitive, but usually downright dangerous. A historical streak, tying the Cowboys' record. If you think this streak of winning seasons is impressive, get this. Mike Tomlin has now tied the NFL record for most consecutive seasons without a losing record. Previously set by the Dallas Cowboys back in the 1965 to 1985 era. Tom Landry and his Cowboys held this record for a long time. But now Tomlin and the Steelers are right there with them. The Cowboys, led by Tom Landry, went 21 seasons without a losing record from 1965 to 1985. And that's no small feat. Landry had a Hall of Fame career, winning 2 Super Bowls and making the playoffs 18 times in his 29 years as head coach of the Cowboys. The Steelers, however, seem to be on track to not only match this, but possibly break it in the future, if Tomlin keeps this up. And honestly, if you're a Steelers fan, you got to be thinking, Mike Tomlin for president, am I right? The Steelers' legendary consistency, a deeper look. Let's step back for a minute. Think about this. The last time the Steelers had a losing season was 2003. Yep, that's right, 2003. We were all still using flip phones. The iPod was the coolest thing around. And Justin Timberlake was the king of pop.